Hey everybody, I hope your Tuesday is going well so far. I've had a great Tuesday actually, but yeah, nothing super exciting, just had a nice productive day. But yeah, let's go ahead and start on getting back into programming. So yesterday, right after the stream, I had an epiphany about how to clean up the A* code. So I hope nobody minds too much, but I went ahead and just did it real quickly. Before, we basically only had this part where it would find the neighbors and then loop through, and then it would like see if that specific neighbor is a target, for example, or if that neighbor has max cost. The only problem with that is that it wouldn't be stored in this visited hash, which we actually are going to use now to find all subpaths. So we really need to be sure that we only end the search during this part of the code. So how I did that this time is first we'll have this function or this switch statement here that will check to see if this is an end node, either if it's a target right here, or if the terminate function returns true from Lua. And then here it's going to test the max cost, and it should terminate if there's no neighbors that are under the max cost. And then here is where it actually is going to add the neighbors into the queue. Another reason that we need to wait through here is because we actually have to grab things out of this queue to make sure that it's the lowest cost possible. Because if we just checked if a certain neighbor is the target, I mean, that's well and good and we would end on it, but there could be a quicker route through some other neighboring nodes. So yeah, that's why we just need to always go through this queue, and this code should fix it all. It actually is a little bit simpler because we don't have to worry about unique end nodes, because things will only be calculated once here, so we know that the end node here would be unique, because otherwise we wouldn't get past this part of the code. But yeah, anyway, so what we were doing before that was basically we were going to update these completed paths and incomplete paths to actually contain or basically use the end node list and then the visited node list, which is actually a hash set. And so the end node contains just all nodes that basically the algorithm decided is the end of a certain search. Either it's a target, Lua said it should terminate the search there, or there's no nodes that are neighbors out of it. Whereas the visited hash actually contains all nodes that were found at all along the path, so, or along any path. So, and used to we had this complicated code here to see if a path was unique or not, and now we know for sure that the visited, since this visited hash only contains this visited hash only contains the lowest cost path to this specific node, and it only contains one and only one path per node that we know, then we know that for sure this is the subpath we'd be interested in. So we don't have to do all this is unique anymore. So okay. Really, the complete and incomplete paths are basically, well, like complete paths is a subset of incomplete paths, so I guess I should change this to all paths maybe. And then maybe in fact, a better way than just having the end node list. Well, one option would be to just have like an is end node flag in this actual Q node class, but I think that we might want to just only have the end nodes. Yeah, because the visited queue could get kind of long, so we should only grab data for that if needed. Okay, so complete paths. Will be basically, well, first we need to get the pathfinder equals manager get pathfinder. And then, so this path object, before we had these integers, but really all we just need is this end node and probably the finder index. I wonder if instead of storing this as a list, we should maybe still have a list of complete paths, but then we can populate like a dictionary for a certain... Oh, actually no, that won't be a good idea because we'll run into the same problem that dynamic values don't work very well in dictionaries. Okay. So yeah, we'll just keep a list here, I guess. And this should be lowercase. So I was thinking that, well, we might want to have something like find path ending with a specific node. But there's no easy way to do that really. Unless we see, we just need some code like this, but well, we can do that in the future if needed. I'm not even sure if the Lua code will actually need that type of information, because basically it would want to find all the paths that were found and not a path for a specific position. Otherwise it would have just searched to get to that position in the first place. Okay, so anyway, yeah, let's just go with this for now. And then for each end node and finder and nodes. New path end node. And we'll probably need the finder index as well. So we can get rid of that, I think. And yeah, we won't do anything else here except just whenever the Lua code actually needs a specific value, like the length, or wants to iterate through all the nodes, then we can build a node list in order. Okay, so yeah, I think this is it. Okay, so here we'll want to use the entire visited hash. Yeah, first we'll find the complete paths, and then we'll want to not add a duplicate path. So we'll have to see, like, make sure a certain queue node is not in the in node list. And so do I have an equals here? Yeah, and it's equatable, so that's good. Where was I? Here. So yeah, since it's a hash set, we have to do for each node and pathfinder. Oh, we haven't gotten the pathfinder yet. And pathfinder visited. Okay, I just called it finder. That's perfect. And it's like capital V. So if finder in nodes contains node is false, and we could probably do something a lot more quick or a lot more efficient for this if we made like our own hash set containing only the end nodes, but I'll be happy with this for now. Then we just add a new path to the all paths. Oh, right. Okay, so that was a lot simpler than our old code. And better too, because now we know that each of these subpaths is actually the fastest path to a specific end node. Okay, so the num paths. Okay, yeah, this is fine because this way doesn't need to call find complete paths. Okay, so let's see. A star move. Let's look through here and see what the next function we need. Numpath, and I think get all subpaths. Okay, so let's move these functions up to the top. Okay, so now we'll have public enumerable dynamic value get all subpaths. So this is basically just needed to find. Okay, this is still named wrong. It should be all paths now. And then we just loop through that. Okay, let's do it this way. Less than all paths count I++. So then we just yield return all paths I. Oh yeah, so we're actually yielding a path like that. Okay, so that's good for that, and so we'll want to probably get all paths as well. Okay, and this will just have find all, or find complete paths. Alright, and now let's look So, okay, we store the path there. I'm not sure if that will work. It should work, but at a certain point the path will become disposed and calling it won't give any more information because that pathfinding search would become invalid. Well, I guess that's fine. We'll just need to have like an is valid option maybe. Okay, but anyway, we need the ending node for sure. Just return end node head. That's all there. Okay, so now in this A star move, get progress nodes. What did I call it that? Oh, okay, because like this does not contain the very first node, or this wouldn't contain the first or the end. Okay, so yeah, we'll have a few here. So public I enumerator. So we'll have get all nodes. Let's do that because that's the easiest one. Okay, so before we do that, we'll actually need to have public void find order. And I'll have a list of dynamic values. And this will be basically like the code we did here in this path info class. It basically traverses backwards through the nodes by going on the previous, and then it reverses the order at the very end to get the actual order from start to last. Because if we don't reverse it, it adds the last node at position 0, which we don't want. I mean, I guess we could do it, but I think reversing it is not very expensive, and it'll be easier to work with logically, I think. Like 0 I less than order count. Okay, and also I need to see if the order does not equal null, then we'll need to return because it's already been found, so we don't need to go through this code again. And then we yield return order I. Oh, it's not a path here, this is actually a dynamic value. Okay, so we can copy this and just kind of edit these values. So progress nodes just doesn't contain the first. And then we'll have get middle nodes. Which doesn't contain the first or the last. Let's see what else is on here. Probably the start node. So to get this, we'd have to first find the order. And then we'd return order 0. And also here we need to make sure that the order is not, like, this is not an empty path. Although I don't think that could ever happen, but might as well be safe than sorry. Okay, let's see, maybe length. So first we need to find order and then return order count. Maybe cost. So we don't need to find the order here because the cost is actually in the ending node. Okay, so yeah, this is I think that's pretty much everything that we'll need in the actual path. So we got get all subpaths, and then we have ending node, and then here it's actually going to move the monster, so we have get progress modes, and it says do move. Okay, and monster's alive. This is checking to see if there's any alive monster. Okay, so here it's going to find the shortest path, which is basically target mode. And it just gets the very first path to that monster. Okay, and then it gets ending node below, and for every middle node we add an indicator. Okay, and here it's still ending nodes because we don't actually move onto the target, we just move close to the monster. Okay, so I think we've implemented everything needed. There are a couple other things, like we want to cache these results so that if, for instance here, where it calls find paths twice, it could just have remembered this specific search and then return it immediately. And then of course, whenever there's a move action, we'll need to delete the cache. And that'll be a little strange because the move action would actually happen, for instance, here. And that's part of the Lua interface, so that will actually need to go outside of the Lua interface class and go into the Pathfinder manager and clear basically this Pathfinder's dictionary. But we'll worry about that later. Let's actually see how far the game will run. Look at warnings real quick. So the private field, Pathfinder index is assigned but not used. Okay, so I guess I don't need this after all. So I'll just comment that out for now. Okay, log is assigned. We can get rid of these, I guess. And then just not, we don't have to change the constructor, we just don't assign them until it's needed. Oh, except it actually needed that. I guess it doesn't need the database. That way we can actually use these warnings. Private field, battle is assigned but not used. Script ID. Oh, that's a problem, because then I have to send the script ID. Oh no, because it just runs the last script. Okay, so yeah, I guess I don't need to store that. Okay, and the asynchronous handler doesn't need the battle anymore. What does it need the database for? Oh, okay, to get the object registry. Okay, it just hadn't updated yet. Okay, so no errors. Oh no, there was one. Pathfinder disposed. Ability A-star move, usable. So why would that happen? So it's doing A-star move usable at line 45, so let's look at that. So results. So let's see. Let's get rid of some of these classes that I opened up. So what's happening is in the numpaths, the Pathfinder is being. Oh, I did this backwards. I should actually add this test to find complete paths. So yeah, if finder equals null, then we'll throw an error. And I'll throw that down here too. Although I guess this wouldn't ever happen because it calls find complete paths first, so. Okay, so no error this time. So yeah, script A-star move is complete. And actually finished in one frame, which I'm a little surprised about. Okay. Oh, it says there's no path. Okay, so that is a problem. Obviously something went wrong. So let's I guess let's just print results numpaths and see what that gives us. We need to go into take a deeper dive and see what's going on. So yeah, it says Lua, there's no numpaths. Let's see. How could that happen? Trying to think if there's any way that could happen, like if you set the max cost too high. Oh, I think I know something that could happen. So I guess, like take for example, okay, well let's just make this simpler first and see if it works with just a 1 cost. And then we can, if this works, then we can go back and see what might have gone wrong. Oh, it still says no paths. Okay, but one problem with the current max cost, I think, is that, for example, if the Pathfinder searched all the way to the end here, there would, well, what would happen? Let's walk through. Okay, well it wouldn't terminate actually because I think I need to do one other thing here. So yeah, it should terminate max cost mode if neighbor.cost is less than, and we have to make sure that the does not contain the neighbor. Otherwise it would try to loop back on itself, but we actually want to find like the maximum. Yeah, so if we haven't visited this neighbor and the neighbor is lower than max cost, then that means that we won't want to terminate because there's at least one valid neighbor. I guess I could prevent like already visited nodes from appearing in the queue, but I don't think that actually really causes a problem. If they've already been visited, then they just roll out right here, or are ignored. Oh hey Mimiron, good to see you, how are you doing? I'm not sure, that doesn't actually fix the problem that we're having right now, but it will make a difference later. Or did that make a difference? Because now it says that there's 3 paths. Okay, I guess that was an issue. Okay, well this is obviously not correct. Because, okay, for some reason it says this is 3 paths, but obviously, well, I guess maybe it filled in all these nodes in 3 paths somehow, but we told it to have a max cost of 1, and if we look here, the cost is 1 to go from any block to its neighbor. So something obviously is still going wrong. So I guess I just need to do some logs here. See what the cost is. Well, am I doing... Oh, I think I'm not adding the cost correctly. Yeah, I think that is the problem. Let's look. So, because here we're just getting the cost from the parent to this new neighbor, but we're not actually adding the cost of the parent's path so far, so I think that... So in this way the cost never actually changes or gets higher. It's only counting the cost to go from the last node, or go to the last node on the path instead of the entire path. If that makes sense. Oh, now we see that there's 6 paths, which would be what we'd expect with a 1 move cost maximum, because you could go to each neighboring hexagon. So hopefully if I click, okay, yeah, it does show it. It also shows like this starting position, which we want to get rid of. Let's actually try to move and see if it will let us do that. And silver, I'll just use the old. Okay, so it ran into an error. Cannot access field memory of selection to actions argument. Probably just did something wrong, because I used memory before. Arg selection memory. Oh, okay, so I decided to get the selection first. So I guess let's get rid of the starting position as well. So if path dot ending node equals args monster position, well, except we want to do it if it does not equal, except in Lua it's this little tilde instead of an exclamation point. So this should ignore the starting, or the very simple one length path. Oh, speaking of that, that's an easier way to test that. We can just see if a path has a length of 1. Okay, so yeah, this is how we want it to work. And here I'll just use the old-fashioned. Okay, great, and they both work. And then if I click again, still good. Let's try using A star for this as well. Okay, yeah, they both move fine. Actually, they don't know. Yeah, right now they don't. The monsters basically don't care about each other. Oh, there's something happened here. I wonder. I think the game got mad at me because I tried to move 2 monsters into the same position, maybe? It seems like ability A star move get targets yielded, and then it got complete. Huh. That's something. Okay, let's just try and run 3 turns without having the enemies collide and see if that still happens. Because that could be some other issue with our system and not actually the pathfinding itself. So I'll just have both move. I think I got 3 turns in last time. Okay, so something happens on the 3rd turn. That's kind of strange. Happens on A star move complete. Why does the game just stop? Okay, let's see if it happens. Maybe this isn't an issue with A star, it's an issue with the rest of the game. And if that's the case, then I'll just wait to try and fix it. Because I'm not exactly sure what it is, and I don't want to get my mind off of pathfinding for now. So we'll just try and do normal moves. See if we can get past 3 turns this way. Okay, so it is something with pathfinding, looks like. Strange. Let's see, does it have to do with the actual number of turns, or does it have to do with the number of pathfinding queries? Now it's still working. Okay, there it stopped. Okay, so it's not the script number because last time it didn't get up to 99. First, I guess let's look and see what happens when complete is fired, and then see what we expect. Okay, so call script 139. Okay, so complete, and then it calls the complete function after cleaning up the track. And cleaning up the track just removes it from the active tracks, which is fine. Okay, so let's look on complete for the, what is it? Is it get targets? Yeah, get targets. So either, not really sure what the issue could be, because the game doesn't like switch to the, like it doesn't switch phases after this, so I'm not, something weird going on with actual script call. Because we still regenerate target options and it just freezes. So I guess let's just call, or do a bunch of debugs here to see how far the game gets. Use plain old Unity one so I can actually click and get to this line of code easily. Oh, that was wrong too. Fine, we'll just type it out. Unity engine. Oops, I don't know why there was a space there. So debug log get targets on complete called okay, and then send results. Let's see, where does this go to? The select target manager and the ordering selection regenerator. So I guess it's this regenerator. So maybe the code, there's something wrong going on here. But weirdly it seems to only happen for pathfinding queries. Let's just debug the state. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on from that. So it seems like the fastest way to do it and most consistent is just to keep on doing pathfinding. And then on the third turn it should freeze. Oh, except, okay, now it did it early. Okay, so get targets on complete called. So it looks like it's idle. So the regenerator said it's already done. So selection, that's fine. Submit choices. Maybe this regenerate target actions like, so this is on 199 and so it creates this async script on 195. So I wonder if this just completes too early. Oh, well it takes a few frames. Well, to get targets it's set to idle, so yeah. I think this is our issue, is the state is changing before we're ready. Oh. Yeah, for some reason we set the state to idle right here, which that's not right. So when you script running, it checks to see if the regenerated value contains a key for every player. Yeah, so basically, this state should go inside the if statement, not outside. Is this regenerated cleared? Yeah, so it's cleared right there. Okay, so yeah, that was just a silly mistake. I guess, yeah, the only reason we saw that with pathfinding is because pathfinding is the most likely to take more than one frame, I guess. Okay, so let's, we're lucky we were able to reproduce it. So let's just try to run a few, and hopefully that's it. That's, it. Is everything good so far? It's the infamous third turn. Okay, so now I'm gonna try to move have the monsters switch places, because that's what caused the problem the very first time. Okay, so that actually worked. But that would probably that final game you won't be able to move on to a position with a monster there already. Okay, so that was a silly mistake on my part, but thankfully figured it out. So let's should barely change anything. Just recompile. It's gonna clear out the messages too, probably. Oh no, it didn't. I just want to get rid of those debug. I guess I can just go back through like this. And the generator. Excuse me. All right. Okay, so let's try to let's extend this to 10 now and see what happens. Actually, I'm going to do something really crazy. I'm going to go up to 100 because I want to make sure that like the edges of the map don't cause any problems. And the game should basically say that the entire map is a valid move. Okay, so it says there's only 3 paths. I'd like to actually see what those 3 are, but between them all, it does get to every position on the map. Well, except for these, because they're up higher. Alright, perfect. Okay. So now let's do something a bit more sane. Let's go down to 3. And if this works, we can move on from here and... Well, no, we'll do one other thing. We'll have a variable cost. Okay, so there's 18 paths. That's... I don't know, is that correct? Well, I guess there'd be one fastest path to each endpoint, so yeah, that's okay. Yeah, so yeah, all looks good. Now if I actually try to move to one of these, will the game... Okay, yeah, so it does move them correctly. Okay, so I guess... Yeah, A-star move looks to be good now. So let's move on to move towards. And in order to do that, I first need to make both monsters have this ability. So move towards. Oh, but I actually wanted to try variable cost first, so let's do that. So how I'll do this is we'll change cost based on the type of block that the from block is, so or below. I think I have stone. Okay, here's block prototypes. I have dirt and stone, so we'll make dirt 1 and then stone 3. Let's see what happens. So let's see if battle state get block from prototype dot name is stone, then turn 3, else we'll just return 1. Okay, so this, and remember the stone blocks are below. Most of prototype silver has undefined ability move towards. I bet it's just move toward, not move towards. Yeah. First we'll try, okay, that's not what I expected, because these are supposed to be stone. Oh, but did I actually check below? Okay, no, because see this from node is actually the air block above the stone block, so I have to say below. Still says there's 18. That didn't make any difference, did it? Oh, it's lowercase. Oh no, this supposed to be case insensitive. Okay, let's just print out the prototype. Why did printing it out fix it? Maybe I forgot to save the script. Okay, but yeah, this looks how it's supposed to be, because you can see when it tries to move on the stone, that takes up all 3 of its movement cost. But then it can move 3 outwards on the dirt tiles. Now what about if I that? Yeah, so now it's... Although it should be able to move here, shouldn't it? Oh, it could. It's just that bug with the indicators not always showing up. Guess we probably should fix that now that we're actually using them to debug. But first let's get rid of that extra print. Okay, so the indicators aren't showing up, and I think it's going to be something pretty simple. I think that they're just not getting re-enabled. Oh, well, it should, because I have the despawn. And we know that the option exists. It's just the object's not getting set up. Okay, well, it's unfortunately not quite as simple as I thought. Let's see. Turn string format. Indicator. Type and new hex position. Oh, we can't do that because we don't have the board. I wanted to convert the position into an actual hex position so we can get a better print screen there, but this indicator doesn't have the board in it with it. Still. Log game object plus indicator. So maybe for some reason some of the game objects are being, turning up null. So let's see if we can fix this real quick. I don't want to spend too long on it, but it is going to cause a problem because we're actually trying to test the pathfinding now, and if correct paths aren't going to show up, that could be a problem. Okay, so let's see, 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna count how many there are. They don't all fit still. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're missing 4. Okay, well it did create a new... Oh, well no, see this move indicator 7 is copied. Why? Did it get despawned somehow? Looks like it goes up to 10 and then resets. Yeah, there's no way that it could get despawned in the time that we are calling this loop. Unless... Does the indicator object have any scripts attached to it? Nope. It has this cube that's just a mesh. Okay, so it must be some problem here, which I'm surprised I've been using this object for a long time. Okay, well, let's just not cache our objects. And I'll need to fix that. So game object instantiate, move indicator prefab, vector 3. I guess I don't need to give it anything. We're going to... I think it will complain about this. Well, I guess we can still despawn it. Well, no, let's just destroy game object instead of caching it for now. For some reason the simple pool is not working right. Okay, so now it shows the correct paths. Alright, so yeah, I don't know. Let's write something here. Check out simple pool. See if there's a new version of it. I actually got that from another programmer called Quill18. So maybe there's a new version that fixes some problems. But yeah, I'll do that after stream. I'll go look into that. But anyway, let's go back to pathfinding. So one thing that might be kind of fun is to actually try to visualize each path. But so far things are going really smoothly. I don't know if we need to do that, but we could work with Unity's like line renders and pretty simply set up an arrow showing the actual path that the Pathfinder discovers. Oh, excuse me. But for now, let's try this move towards. Oh, nothing came up actually. Oh, there's an error. Cannot access field column of board position. So I probably just named it wrong. Yeah, I guess I spelled it all out. So where's that? Oh yeah, the guess. Don't need to capitalize it, but let's try it now. Okay, another error. Pathfinding costs bad return. So that means that it either didn't return a number or it's negative. It shouldn't be here because this was working fine. How can this not return a number? Probably just did the logic wrong. So if return value is null, or return value does not equal number, or return value is less than or equal to 0. Okay, I guess let's so if return value number or type is number, let's print it out. Well, we should actually just print it out even if it's not a number, because that could be the issue. So let's print out the return value. I don't know if toString is going to give us a useful return though. Okay, so it does return a number. But if it's a user data, it doesn't call the user data toString though for some reason. I don't know why the dynamic values in Moonsharp don't actually use like toString and hash code for user data, because it seems like something that wouldn't cause an issue, but I'm not gonna go change the Moonsharp code. Okay, so what is this? Oh, those are, yeah, that's all the cost, but it's not moved towards cost, it's the normal cost. Hi Sinocron. Yeah, right now I'm actually working on pathfinding. I guess I'll just show you. See, here's just a simple path where the gray tiles have a cost of 3 and the green have a cost of 1. Of course, nothing super exciting, but it does at least illustrate the system. Okay, so now it's like calling a bunch of stuff, but there was already an error, so how come it hasn't stopped yet? Well, on errors, I guess it doesn't freeze the pathfinding system. Maybe it should. I don't know. Probably doesn't make any difference. But yeah, I just want to see the error. So it still says there's a bad return, but it doesn't actually say what. Okay, so instead of printing this out, let's actually just pass this to string. And now the actual return value will show up in that error string. So let's just, wait, still got to the error. That returned 0. Okay, I think okay, so yeah, this is the issue. The guess returned a 0 because probably this is the actual target. Can you turn down the music? You like to hear what you have your own? Okay, I'll turn it down. I like to have some to cover up some of the background noise in my room, but if you have, but I can, since you requested it. Okay, so all we need to do now is that if you're at the target, well no, I guess the heuristic should just be able to return 0. No problem, Sinocron. Okay, so I guess, let's see. We need to have another flag here, I suppose. Private bool allow 0. So let's make a helper function here. Valid number. So if num is less than 0, okay, we'll return num is greater than 0, or yeah, num equals 0 and allow 0. Okay. Return value number. Okay, so if it's not a valid number, we'll throw an error. And now whenever I instantiate this, I need to set the allow 0, of course. And so for the cost, we won't allow 0 because every movement needs to have some cost, or there's no point in running a star. But I guess that might actually be wanted. Well, having a cost of 0 is pretty much equivalent to having a cost of 1 if you want to just have a normal, like, depth first search. But if, for instance, you had a cost of 0 and then some things that had a positive cost, I think that would confuse the pathfinding system quite a bit. But yeah, the guess can have a cost of 0 because at that point, basically, that's saying that you're at the target. Okay, so let's try again now. Hopefully I got that logic correct. Still has a problem. Maybe it has to do with rounding errors. Okay, so yeah, if num is 0 or math so if we're basically 0, oh right, now I have to downgrade it to a float. Still a problem. Okay, so something else is wrong. Well, it's still saying that the return is just a 0 value. Oh, because I don't actually store the allow 0 variable here. Okay, well I guess we can leave that there for rounding errors. Okay, so still something. Okay, but it's different now. Oh, bad indicator type. Okay, so this is just because that's not helping me. When we try to add the indicators for this move towards, I wanted to have a different indicator than just move indicator, but since we I don't want to take time to implement that right now. And it would look the same anyway, since we don't actually have any unique art for the indicators yet. I'll just use the old move indicator. Alright, Unity. Okay. So now when I click here, hopefully everything will work. That's still something wrong. Bad indicator type null. Okay, yeah, so it's saying that the indicator is null, so that means I just didn't set it somewhere. Sorry about my phone. So we add the indicator and then I set the type right here. Oh, I know why I wanted to do this. It's because yeah, we had a separate path indicator that would you couldn't actually click on, but it would just show you the path to the target. I guess I should do that, huh? Okay, so we'll take a little time out to update the indicators a little bit. But for some reason it seems there's a null indicator, which doesn't make much sense to me. Oh, yeah, it was the variable name. See here, I was using just a normal indicator instead of the middle indicator. So this middle indicator was being created, but the type wasn't ever being set. So now if I go to the option indicator and I'll want to enable path indicators. What am I using Lua for? It's for modding, because the mod authors will be able to write all this stuff and the game will load it, because Unity can't load C# at runtime, so there's no way for mod authors to be able to write code in C# and Lua be able to load it without me having to recompile the whole game, which obviously won't work for modding. Okay, so that's good. I wonder where else I test the types. Well, C# can build DLLs, but Unity can't load a DLL at runtime, is the issue. As far as I know, anyway. Okay, so now I just need to add something else here. Okay, so I want to have a new path indicator, which basically you can't click on, but it shows you information about the path. Okay, so I guess I should see where else this is accessed. Okay, so yeah, here it's going to try to select the block, and it only selects for the move indicators, which is what I want. And then on the creator, we'll do the same thing for our path indicator, except I'll recolor the material in pretty much the hackiest way possible. So we'll get component and children, mesh, renderer, material, and then set color. Okay, so let's have these paths be green. Oh no, that could blend in. Let's have it blue. I think this will work. Yeah, sorry, I can't post links. I should see if I can disable that, because I never get spammers, so it's always people trying to give me helpful links. Okay, well, this worked. It didn't recolor the indicator, but probably because I used the wrong color index, but it actually showed up correctly. And if I click here, it doesn't allow that option, but if I click there, okay, yeah, now it tries to move up to the monster. Of course, the monster actually moved out of the way, but okay, so I wonder, set color. Probably need to give the actual string name for the material. Let me see. Is it just unnamed? So it's be the albedo. Actually, don't know if this shader has like a simple way to change the color. So Smooth indicator, cube. Oh, it's a default material. Hexagonal tiles from Fire Emblem? I don't know if any Fire Emblem games have hexagonal tiles. I just like them because I think they provide a little more strategy and make the maps look a little more realistic. Okay, well I won't worry about coloring it because it doesn't really make any difference. Oh, I know one way I can make it obvious. I'll scale the indicators. Okay, so game object dot scale transform scale, and I won't scale the Z because that'll make it too short. Okay, so let's just make it half. Okay, well actually that did cause a problem. Just trying to do something fancy here. Unity, can't you work with me? Oh, it's because it's like rotated differently. Oh yeah, so I actually don't want the Y to be scaled. I always forget that's how it works. To me, the Z is always the coordinate that goes up out of the map, but okay, so one more time. Sure. The camera system does not work well with these big maps either. That's another thing I need to revamp. Okay, so now it's smaller. You can see this is just a path. You can't actually click on it. But I don't want to do that. I want to move them farther apart so we can do a longer test of the pathfinding. So now if I try to move towards, yeah, see, it tries to take the quickest path, which basically only moves over the gray tiles once because the gray tiles are more expensive. And then if I move... Okay, cool. Seems to work well. Okay, no, that's not. I wanted to get rid of the indicator debugging because I don't need that anymore. Right here. And also, this works fine now, so I can get rid of this just to try and clean up the debug log a little. Okay, so let's look and see what else I need to do. So we found all the paths and the shortest path. Okay, so we need to look into caching. I actually haven't tried to do something with numbers as nodes instead of a board position, so I guess I should test that. Oh yeah, we need to test a terminate function. Which is this third mode that I haven't done yet. That's good. Support function and hard-coded. Okay, that's its terminate function. That's kind of a duplicate. Okay, and this simple pool I'll do right after the stream. Okay, so we still got a little bit of work, but everything is looking good so far. But yeah, it is. Oh wow, I lost complete track of time. I've actually gone quite a bit over. But yeah, I guess I better stop here. Yeah, so thanks everybody for coming by and watching me program some pathfinding. I'll be back tomorrow around 8:30 Eastern, and I guess we'll wrap this up. I actually have, pretty soon I've been hit with some inspiration for a smaller project that'll just take a week or so. So we might work on that after I finish pathfinding, just to take a break. Because I've been working on this lizard tamer for a couple months now. On stream anyway. But yeah, thanks again everybody for watching, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Have a great night. Bye bye.